Welcome to episode number 69 of the Driftless Knitting podcast. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter, and you can find the podcast on Ravelry if you search for Driftless Knitting under the Groups tab. There's not much going on there right now, but that is where we hold knit-alongs when there's a knit-along going on. One just ended a couple weeks ago, and you can also ask questions there, make comments. I sometimes do show notes from the podcast, but not always, so yeah, don't hold your breath on that one, but sometimes. Always feel free to ask a question in the comments below or make a comment here on YouTube. And also there is a thread on Ravelry in the Ravelry group called General Chit Chat, so if you have a comment or a question, just go on there. You can also find my pattern designs on Ravelry if you search for Jennifer Sue. It'll come up if you search for that in the patterns search bar, or you can search for any of my pattern names if you know of the one that you're looking for. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've podcasted last, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you're a new viewer, welcome. There has been a few new subscribers recently, which is very exciting, so I'm really happy that you guys chose to subscribe to my channel and to check out my knitting podcast. I am getting very close to 500 subscribers here on YouTube, so I think I'm going to be doing a giveaway in the next few weeks, hopefully if we get above 500. And actually my Instagram account is getting close to 1,000 followers, so I might be doing a giveaway. I might be doing 2 giveaways in the next couple months, who knows. So hopefully we can get above that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, and I'll be doing a fun giveaway hopefully very soon. I am coming to you on Monday, September 23rd, 24th. Oh man, I've lost track of the days. It is my day off today, and I am enjoying it immensely. It is very beautiful outside. Fall has finally come. We are in, I think, the 60s right now. Our thermometer says it's 67 degrees outside, which to me is like the perfect fall temperature. Anything in the 60s with the sun shining and a cool breeze blowing is just fantastic. So yesterday and today have been nice and cool like that. Saturday was pretty cool too. I was inside most of the day Saturday because I had to work, and then excuse me, before that we were actually gone for about a week and a half, a little over a week, not quite a week and a half. We were in New York State for a family wedding, and then also Seaver and I extended that little trip. It wasn't really a little trip, but that trip, and turned it into our honeymoon. So we stayed about 5 extra days after the family gatherings were done, and we did a lot of fun things out there. We were in the Ithaca area, Ithaca and Cooperstown, and oh my gosh, we had so much fun. So if you've been looking at my Instagram, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, you will have seen lots of pictures, and I will be doing a travel vlog. I did a lot of filming while we were out there, so I'll be doing a travel log on that trip. I'm not really sure when I'm gonna get a chance to edit and put together that whole thing. There's a lot of little snippets that I have to kind of, splice together, and like add music and, little captions and things like that. So I'm not sure exactly when I'm gonna have that done, but maybe in the next week or so. Keep an eye out for that. I also have some footage from when I went to the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival a couple of weeks ago, and I think I'm going to tack that on at the end of this podcast episode, so stay tuned if you want to see a little footage of my time at the Wool Festival. Apologies if the lighting is a little strange. My ring light that I usually use to kind of help brighten things up, I think the battery is going on that one. It keeps turning off on me, so it is quite a sunny day, and I have the our big sliding doors on this side of the apartment. I have those open, so I might be getting a little bit of sunshine on this side of my face. It's a little uneven today, but hopefully you don't mind too much. And I'm hoping that with the natural light, I will be able to give you a good presentation, a good representation. That's the word I'm looking for. Representation of my projects and the colors in my projects, and we won't have to worry about, bad lighting. Cross your fingers. I did get my hair cut. I have bangs again. I don't think I had bangs when I started the podcast. I don't think so. But I had bangs for a long time before that. And that was 2 years ago. It is almost, sorry for the little, I know I just said I was going to go into works in progress and finished objects and things like that, but I just remembered that it is almost my 2-year podcast anniversary, or maybe it already passed. I honestly am not sure of the date, and I should look that up. But I remember that it was about a week or so after the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival that I started podcasting. The first time I went there 2 years ago, and I had been thinking about it for a little while. I had some friends that did podcasts, and I had really gotten into watching podcasts around that time 2 years ago. So I was really thinking about it, and then one day I just decided to start filming. Those early ones are, my background isn't that great, the lighting isn't that great. I was using my computer to film, and that just wasn't the best quality, and I didn't know about editing software, so I kind of just I just filmed the episode hoping that I didn't make any mistakes, and then uploaded it onto YouTube, and I added some captions. On YouTube you can actually do a little bit of editing, but not, at least how I know, I'm not super good with YouTube or with technology in general. So I didn't really know if I could edit on YouTube. I just knew how to add captions, and so that was really all I did, until one of my friends kind of clued me in that you could download some free software on your computer to edit. And I'm still not the best editor. I'm on a Microsoft computer, and I know that those aren't the best programs for editing. Macs usually tend to, I know I could buy a program and download it, but I know that the free programs on Macs tend to be better. But yeah, little by little over the years, I feel like I have made some improvements with the podcast, and hopefully that's noticeable. And if not, I'm not really trying to win any awards with the most fancy podcast, so hopefully you guys come and watch just for the knitting content and just to listen to me talk, I guess. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get into some knitting. I think I'm gonna do things a little reversed today. I usually start with my works in progress, and then I work up to my finished objects, kind of as the last hurrah. I think I'm gonna do finished objects first, and go kind of chronologically, the things I finished, and then now the things that I'm working on, because because I was going on vacation, and the one big project that I finished was a deadline, and I had to get that sent out. I really focused on one project at a time, and it just kind of fits with what my life has been like over the last couple of weeks. So I'll start with finished objects. My first finished object, unfortunately, I don't have here to show you. You guys did get to see my progress on it over the last month and a half, but I did have to send that off to Minnesota. I was working on the Petra sweater by Marie Green out of Three Irish Girls. I almost forgot the name of the yarn. Three Irish Girls Adorn Sock. and that was a sample for Yarnology in Winona, Minnesota, which is the yarn shop that I used to work at. And I was knitting that for them so that they can have that on display. They carry the 3 Irish Girls Adorn sock in their shop, and they wanted this sweater made out of it. So I was asked to knit that for them. I did finish it, I think, on Wednesday, which was the day before I left for vacation. And I was really hoping to have it done the previous Sunday, because that was when I went to the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival, and I was meeting up and hanging out with my very good friend Lisa, who lives up there, and Colleen came too. My good friend Colleen, that I hadn't seen in a long time, probably since before my wedding. And Lisa and Colleen drove down together, and I didn't realize that Colleen was coming, and so that was a really fun surprise. Seaver and I went, and we got there a little bit earlier than Lisa and Colleen, and we were kind of walking around looking at the sheep barns and stuff, and then, you know, Lisa texted me that they were there, so we met them at the gate, and all of a sudden Colleen walks up, and I was so excited to see her, so that was really great. And I really wanted to send that sweater back with Lisa so that, you know, the girls at Yarnology could get that, but I was still about 3/4 of the way done with the first sleeve. I had to knit the very long cuff of the sleeve and then knit the whole second sleeve, and there was no way, even if I had stayed up super late on Friday night and Saturday night, which I did a little bit, just to see if I could, you know, how much I could get done. It wasn't gonna work. So I decided, you know, I'm not gonna stress myself out. I'll just send it in the mail. It'll be okay. It'll just be a couple more days. So I cranked out those sleeves. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. I knit the cuff. I knit the whole cuff, I think, Monday, and started the second sleeve. And then Tuesday, I knit a ton of it. Did I really do that in 3 days? Maybe my timeline is off. But anyway, it wasn't that long that I knit those 2 sleeves, and then I got that sent out the Wednesday before we went on vacation. Yeah. So anyway, my timeline might be a little screwed up there, but I'm pretty sure I did that in just a few days. So anyway, I was so happy to get that done. It was weighing on me, to be honest. It was weighing on me. I felt like I couldn't work on anything else because that was, you know, for a specific person and purpose, and I needed to, you know, I didn't want to leave them waiting. I wanted to get it done before vacation, so I didn't have to, you know, think about it. And when I cast off that last sleeve, whew, that was a relief. So got that in the mail. I'll post a picture here. It really is a gorgeous sweater, gorgeous yarn. I enjoyed knitting it, honestly. I really did. Even though, like I said, it was stressing me out a tiny bit by the end, the knit itself was so fun. So if you are in Winona, if you go to Yarnology, keep your eye out for that. I'm waiting on a picture from my friend Kelly, who co-owns Yarnology. I'm waiting on a picture of it on a mannequin so I can see it in all its glory, and she was blocking it too. I just sort of sent it off, and I knew, you know, she would block it how she wanted to, and just kind of left it at that. So she blocked it, and I can't wait to see a finished picture of it. So after I got that done, like I said, the next day we left on vacation, and I had my vacation knitting all set to go. I brought 3 projects along, new projects that I hadn't started before, and the first thing that I was dying to cast these on, and I did get them done, are my Pumpkin Spice Avenue socks. So, oh my gosh, I honestly, these flew off the needles, and I realized that I was in a car for like 12 hours there and back, so about 24 hours total of knitting time, really, and I did take advantage of a lot of that. Seaver actually ended up driving the entire time. And I'll tell you why. I am not averse to driving. I love driving. But Seaver has a stick shift car, and he was bound and determined that we were going to take his car. We were not going to rent a car, and my car's too old to make that long of a drive. It's a 2004, which I know isn't like the oldest car out there. I know that some of you probably own cars much older than that, but it's been driven a lot. It has a few things that are a little, we're keeping an eye on. I had to get a little bit of work done on it recently, and I just, with the terrain out there, we were kind of on the like outskirts of the Adirondack Mountains, and so it's very hilly, very steep. Ithaca is like in a bowl pretty much, and any time you need to get out of Ithaca, you're going like straight up a hill, a big hill. So we kind of knew that my car just wasn't gonna be able to do that. So we were gonna rent something, and then he's like, no, we're not gonna waste money. My car is perfectly fine, and I want to use it as much as I can before, because his is getting a little older too, but it's still in much better shape than mine. But I'm like, I don't drive stick shift. Like, what are we gonna do? You can't drive the whole way out there. So I did do a little bit of like lessons with him, I guess, if you could call it that, where he did teach me the basics. So in an emergency, I could have probably driven without getting us killed. I'm not 100% confident in that though. But yeah, because I only did like 3 lessons. We decided on taking his car, I don't know, like a month before we went, and so just with timing, I wasn't able to get super comfortable driving a stick shift. So I pretty much told him, like, unless you are in the hospital or something like that, or you know, even if he got sleepy, it was like we were better off pulling over and him taking a nap than me driving, because I was not confident at all. So he ended up driving the entire way, and the whole week and a half that we were out there. So I got a ton of knitting time in. I did feel guilty slightly, because I was kind of able to like relax, and I navigated, honestly. I did, and I kind of helped him keep an eye out like in traffic jams and stuff. It's always good to have 2 people. At least that's my opinion, because sometimes things happen so quickly you can't react. Anyway, that was a huge tangent, I'm sorry, but my point was that I got these socks knit in no time flat. I was almost done with, the entire foot and the heel after the first day of the first one. And my ends aren't woven in yet, but who cares? They are blocked, so that's good. Yeah, so I was able to get the whole foot done and the heel done on the first day, and then I cast off, I think I cast off the first one Sunday night. Yes. So we drove all day Thursday. We were in Ithaca Friday and Saturday for the rehearsal and then the wedding, and then we drove to Cooperstown on Sunday. So those 2 days, Friday and Saturday, I didn't get a whole lot of knitting in. I don't think I got any really, because we were with family the whole time. So, and just outside and doing stuff. And so the majority of the knitting happened Thursday, and then on Sunday when we drove to Cooperstown. And then Sunday night, I cast off the first one. Or Monday I cast off the first one, sorry. And then Monday night, I cast on the second one. And then finished that one, I believe, on, when was that? before we came home. We drove home Friday. Thursday in the car, I cast off the second one. So in a week, in one full week, I was able to get these done, and yeah, it was so enjoyable. This yarn is by the Moon and Sixpence, or the Sixpence Moon. She's one on Instagram, and her yarn shop, or her yarn dyeing company, is the other. And I will put the correct one right down there because I'm not sure. But it's her pumpkin spice latte colorway, and she sent this to me last year to be a giveaway. So she sent me 2 skeins, one for me to keep and one to do as a giveaway. And I just knew that this autumn I had to knit these into socks as my fall pair of socks. And the pattern there, you can see the texture on the top of the foot. The pattern is the Avenue Socks by the Knitting Expat. And I so enjoy knitting these. They were mindless, but just enough interest to keep my attention. And I honestly kind of feel like I didn't get enough time with them. I enjoy knitting them so much that I was kind of sad by how fast they were going. I kind of wish I was able to knit on them a little more, which is weird because usually I'm like, I want to crank things out so badly so I can, move on to the next thing and actually wear and use the thing I've knit. But yeah, these were just so much fun to knit. I loved them. And they will forever remind me of my New York trip, which is what I love about knitting projects. They always bring back a memory of what I was doing at the time. If I watch a certain show while I knit on something, I will all of a sudden get a craving to see that show again, or I'll remember, something, or if it's during a holiday or a vacation, if I was with someone when I was knitting them, it always brings that back. And yeah, I just love that. So these are my New York socks. I'm so excited. And I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which is not the heel that is written in the pattern, but it's my preferred heel. And I did do them toe up with a rounded toe using Judy's Magic Cast On. Yay! Okay, so when I finished those socks, that project, I moved on to, and I need to show you what bag I had those in for my trip. It was in my Twisted Threads bag. And that's Stacy Glass. Stacy, is your podcast called Twisted Threads too? She has a podcast, and I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry, but she sent this to me last year as part of a Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted package. I had wanted an indie dyed skein of yarn, someone that I hadn't really tried before, any indie dyed, and she offered to send me one that she dyed. So she sent that to me, and then she surprised me with this bag, and I love it. And she had no idea, could not have had an idea that I had seen this fabric by a couple different bag makers made up, and I had always looked at them with envy. I wanted this fabric so badly. And then, yeah, she sent it to me without even knowing that, and I love it. Yes, so it was in there the whole time because this is my autumn bag, and then I had this on my socks, and I'm about to put this on another project, but I just wanted to show you quick. I don't know if it will focus. But that is a apple cider donut. You are seeing that correctly. Progress Keeper. This is from the Gnome Knitter, and I was one of the probably hundreds of people that tried to get this Progress Keeper on her first update when she had them. I even had an alarm set, and unfortunately I was at work when she updated her shop, and I was not able to get away to order it right away. And by the time I did, they were sold out, and I was so sad. But then I think like that night or the next day, she posted that she was gonna do pre-orders for the apple cider donuts because so many people had wanted them. So I got in there and ordered one, and that came a few days before we left on vacation. So I was very excited about that, and it's the perfect little progress keeper for any fall project. And I am about to put it on another project that I can't show you right now because it's a design. I'll show you the yarn because that is a very special, very exciting acquisition. I'll show you that in a little bit. But yeah, it will be going on that project, but I didn't want to clip it on there yet because, like I said, I can't show it to you. Okay, but after I finished my socks, I had a whole long car ride left back home, and let me get the picture of it set to go. So I had brought along a couple more projects because I didn't know A, how long the socks would take me, B, if I was even going to finish them. Like, I thought maybe I would switch between projects, and then C, if I did finish it, I wasn't sure what I would be in the mood to cast on next. So I had 2 projects ready to go when I finished the socks, and I chose to cast on the Precious cowl. You can see it there. Hopefully that's a good shot of it. Yep, I think so. And this is by Nadia. I'm just going to butcher that, so I'm going to sort of put it up there so you can read it for yourself. And I think this is just a beautiful, beautiful cowl. It is knit flat. There's another picture of it. It's knit flat, and it's knit in a fingering weight yarn, and I decided that this would be perfect for my mom for Christmas. My mom loves my hand knits. She is very knit worthy. She will even, it's kind of funny, she will sometimes go through my knit objects and kind of like pick things out that she likes, or if there was one time where I think I was trying to sell, yes, I was selling some hand knit things at like a pop-up shop down in Illinois where she lives, where I'm from, and she had to go pick the things up that hadn't sold, and because she obviously lives closer, and this is when I was still back up in Winona in Minnesota, and she like went through the bag and she's like, I picked a few things out, and she's like, I can pay you if you want. And these were things, I didn't really need them back. They were things I had made specifically for this sale, and I wasn't planning on selling them at any other sale, so they weren't really, I don't know, I wasn't too attached to them, and she's my mom, and so I was like, no, like, you've done enough for me. I'm sure I owe you for something. I mean, not that she would ever say, like, yeah. But she's my mom. She pays for things. She helps me out with stuff. Yeah, you know how it goes. So I was just like, keep them. So she kept like 4 things, I think. That was really funny. So yeah, she will request things time to time and just she wears all the things I give her, and she's very knit worthy. So I like to knit her some accessories for her birthday. I didn't this year because it was really close to my wedding, and that was, you know, crazy, and didn't have much spare time. But for Christmas, I am going to knit her this cowl, and I'm knitting it out of Knit Circus yarns. This is our Opulence base, which is a 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. Very soft, very fun to work with. And this is the Wallflower colorway. So you can see it's got some dusty pinks in the middle, kind of goes out to a very light dusty pink, into a yellow, and then some like denim blues on the end. That's washing out a tiny bit, but you get the picture. So yeah, I am really enjoying this. The pattern itself is kind of easy to memorize. I didn't think it was at first, but it really is. You can read, if you kind of have an idea of how the lace is kind of working out, you can read your knitting very well, and you can just tell what comes next, which is really nice, especially when I was in the car. Like the first, I think, 2 repeats of this lace pattern, I did have to look at it and make sure I was doing the right row, but then after a while, yeah, I just kind of got the hang of it, and it's very potato chippy, very addicting to knit, and I got like, I don't know, in probably about total, I did maybe 5 oh, that sounds like a lot. 4 hours of knitting, which doesn't seem like a lot, but there were sometimes where I was helping, Seaver navigate, or we'd be listening to something and I would stop. So, I mean, I didn't knit like straight through the car ride, but I got probably about up to here done. And then when we got home, I think I did 1 repeat Saturday night, I think, after work. I was so tired though. We drove home all day Friday, got home about 9:45 our time, which we had been on Eastern time, so it felt like 10:45, and then I had to get up the next day and go to work. So that Saturday night I was so tired, so I went to bed at like 10, and didn't knit very much at all. But I am working on my Addy Click needles. These are the long lace set. Let's see, it has the lace tip there. I love these needles. I don't care what anybody says, Addies are still my favorite. The lace, or the click set, if you're using fingering weight yarn or thinner, it will catch a tiny bit on the join, but I'm finding that with these looser stitches with the thinner yarn, it's not catching like hardly at all. If you're knitting very tightly on them, you will have to kind of push a little bit to get them over, because it isn't really a true seamless join. It does have, I'll show you right there. Can you see that? It has a little like lip on it, but sometimes it's annoying. If you get the right combination of yarn and project and needle size, it can be annoying, but I'm not having any problems with this one. So yeah, that is the Precious Cowl, and I'm kind of looking forward to just being able to cruise on that one. Even though it is lace, it's only like an 8-row repeat, and yeah, like I said, you can start to read the pattern really easily, and it kind of comes naturally after a while, so once you get going, you don't really have to look at the pattern. So that is what I worked on in the car after my socks were done. I won't show you the other project I had packed because I did not start it, and it's gonna have to wait now until I get a couple other things done. But yesterday was Sunday, and I did start on a new design that I'm working on that I'm very excited about. I'll show you the yarn in a second, like I said. But I was watching football, just having a really relaxed day. Seaver was at the farm helping his dad out. That's his way of recovering from vacation, is going to his family farm and doing manual labor, which I don't really understand. Actually, I do, because I know him, and he just needs to, like, he knows that farm so well, and he knows the work that he does there so well that he can do it without, he's like on autopilot. And he just enjoys working out his like stress, and yeah, not that vacation was stressful, but I mean, all vacations are a little bit in some ways. They take a lot out of you, and his recovery, instead of just kind of like relaxing and knitting and watching football, which is what I did yesterday, he just wanted to get outside and, you know, be at his home farm and just do some work with his dad and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm all for that. Like, go ahead, do your thing. I'm gonna work on knitting projects. So when I wanted to kind of put down my new design and mindlessly work on something, I had the urge to pick up my cozy memory blanket, which I call my patchwork memory blanket because it reminds me of a patchwork quilt. So this is my blanket. I haven't showed this to you guys in a long time because I haven't worked on it in a long time. I almost feel guilty working on this when I have anything that has a deadline. So if I'm gift knitting, or if like I'm doing samples for things for shops, or if I'm doing a design or something like that, I kind of feel guilty picking this up. But you know, I felt really good with where I was at with the new design. I wanted to take a little bit of a break from that. I had just finished a big project. I cast off a pair of socks. I was feeling so good about, you know, finishing things, and so I decided that I could give myself a little bit of time to work on this. So what I did was these two squares here at the end. It was a complete 3-row, how many do I have across? 3, 6, 9 across. But I do want to add at least, I think, 4 more. That'll give me a pretty good sized lap blanket, I think, if I do 4 more across. Yeah. Besides these two. So I'll have 9, 10, 11, 15. Yep, 15 squares across. So I knit these two up, and I think it's so funny the difference in gauge that these two squares give me. This is such a thick sock yarn. This is a Savvy Skeins colorway. Storm Chaser, I believe, is the colorway name, and I knit my Afternoons in the Library socks out of this, and I'm sure you guys remember that one because I showed that pair of socks to you over and over again. And that's my latest pattern that I released a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, so I knit those out of this colorway. And this sock weight is just so thick compared to like every other square. I mean, look at the difference in the sizes. I use the same stitch count, same needles, everything. It's just a very kind of hefty, thick, sturdy sock yarn. So hey, it's good for wearing, right? And then the next one I did was, I think those go so well together. This is a Madeline Tosh Merino light yarn, and I've had this in my stash for a long time. I finally got the chance to knit a baby sweater out of it last winter, I think, for my cousin. He's not really my cousin, but we grew up together. Our moms are best friends, and him and his sister, my sister and I, we grew up like family. So he and his wife had a baby girl she's not quite 1. Yeah, she's not quite 1 yet. So I knit this for them. It must have been last fall. Yeah, it must have been last fall that I knit this. And I can't remember the name of the sweater. It had some like really cute lace plackets though going up the sides. Oh, so cute. It was a cardigan. And yeah, it worked up really nicely in this yarn. This is a single ply fingering weight, superwash merino. Beautiful. And I thought those two went really well together and kind of pulled the blue out of this one. So yeah, it was really fun to knit on this again. I was also inspired not just because like I felt like I had time and I was able to you know, commit some time to this. There's kind of a movement that I think Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast started, and it's like Scrappy Sunday. So you kind of dedicate Sundays to picking up those scrappy projects that you maybe don't go to automatically every other day of the week. Kind of like me, where I feel like I am kind of pressured to finish bigger projects or or projects, I mean, let's be honest, this is going to be on the needles or on the go for maybe the next 5 years, but by the time I get it to a blanket size. And so I don't feel as like committed to it as I do to projects that I might get done sooner and be using sooner. So just to kind of focus on that, be an excuse to pick up your scrappy projects, I think that's really cool. So I was inspired to do that. I had the time, I was home, it all fell into place. And then next, I have the next couple colors ready to go that I'm gonna put in here. And the next color, I think this is gonna be so pretty. So I have these like blues and these purples, and this purpley pink one does have some like lavender, bluish lavender in there. And I am gonna put this light blue next to that. And this is actually the yarn that I knit my wedding shawl out of. This was the color of the bridesmaids' dresses. Ooh, there's fuzz on there. And I knit my wedding shawl to match. So it looks like, yeah, that's not a very pretty bundle of yarn right there, but I just sort of threw the rest of the yarn in that basket and didn't think about it because I was concerned with, you know, blocking it and having it ready for my wedding. So yeah, again, that's my patchwork memory blanket. I have another gnome knitter progress keeper on there, and that's a honeycomb. I love that. I mean, it looks so real. Oh, it's just so cool. I love her stuff. She's so talented. Okay, so that is what I have been knitting on. And plus, you know, the project I can't show you. Been knitting on that a little bit too, but this will move us into some acquisitions because while I can't show you the project, I'm definitely going to show you the yarn. So last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe, I've been thinking about this project for a long time and dreaming about it, and it's kind of an autumn themed shawl, to give you a little sneak peek there. And I was thinking about the perfect skein of autumn colored yarn. And I was looking around, and while there is, okay, people, yarn dyers out there, you're killing us because you guys are coming out with the most gorgeous fall colorways, and I want every single one of them. It's just, I'm so impressed by what yarn dyers can do. You guys are amazing. So I was on Instagram and I was kind of scrolling through, and a picture caught my eye by one of my favorite podcasters, and actually podcast duos, Ethan and Tiffany from the Woolen Homestead. And they are so great. I always enjoy watching their podcast. They do it together now, which is really fun, and Ethan's getting more into knitting. He is pretty much the full-time dyer with the Woolen Homestead. Tiffany dyes as well, but she, I think, has a kind of a stricter like schedule, it seems like, so she's not able to dye as often, like work schedule. And so, you know, Ethan's kind of filled in with that, and he is an awesome dyer as well. And he's come up with some beautiful colorways, and one of his colorways that he dyed is the one that caught my eye. And this one, again, the lighting might be kind of weird. I don't want to bring it too close because I think it's gonna blow out. Well, it's not too bad. But this, I love how subtle the speckling is. This is their Autumn Leaves colorway, and this is on their Polworth DK, 100% superwash Polworth yarn. And yeah, this caught my eye. I love how the background, like I said, it's kind of this subtle autumn color. The background is a brownish, reddish color, and the speckles on there are green and red and a little yellow, and kind of an orangey where the yellow and red kind of mix, and it is absolutely perfect. And it's exactly kind of the type of yarn that I was picturing when I was thinking up this shawl. And so far I have little sections of it in my lap right now, because I'm trying out a couple different stitch patterns. So I literally have both. I ordered 2 of these, and I literally have both of them on the needles right now because I'm kind of comparing stitch patterns, and I didn't want to rip out one because that might be the one I go with. The life of I call myself a wannabe knitwear designer. I know I have sold patterns on Ravelry. I have maybe like 8 or 10 patterns published on Ravelry, but I'm definitely not, I don't know, I'm definitely not making a living off of this. Like, it's completely a hobby at this point, and maybe it will buy me a tank of gas every couple of months, the money that I make. But anyway, that's not the reason why I do it, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, so I have both of these going because, yeah, I don't know which one I'm gonna choose yet, but this is gonna be a 2-color shawl. So not only did I get the Autumn Leaves colorway, but I also got the Ruby colorway on Polworth DK to go with it, and that's just the tag I kept with it, even though I'm not gonna forget what it's called or anything like that. But it's good to have like yardage and make sure I know, you know, what's what. But yeah, those 2 are just gonna be so pretty. I am so excited. And yeah, all I want to do is knit on this. I am a little bit, I can't decide which direction to go with the stitch pattern yet. I think I probably have decided, and even like sitting here looking at both of them now, I'm like, yeah, but I like both so much. And it's only, I know I'm being super cryptic, and I'm so sorry I can't give you more details, but the stitch patterns are very similar. There's just a slight difference between them, like a slight difference, but it gives the shawl a completely different look. And I like both of them a lot. One was what I had in mind, and the other one is, like I said, a slight variation of it. And I like them both a lot, but yeah, I think I know which one I'm gonna go with. Anyway, so that was waiting for me when I got home from vacation. I ordered it a few weeks ago, but they had to do like a custom order die for me because they didn't have this on DK weight. And yeah, I was so excited when I saw that waiting, especially because like it didn't come before we left, and I didn't get our mail stopped. And we live in an apartment building, so part of me was like, oh gosh, I don't know if like our mailbox is gonna fill up, and yeah, just all those thoughts when you're away from home, and I didn't want anyone to take it, or if he left it like in front of our door, like would it be there when we got back? And I was so relieved when I saw it laying there because it was outside of our mailbox. But yeah, our apartment building is very safe, and so far we haven't had any issues with that, so that was great. But yeah, so that came while we were gone. Before we left though, we did, like I said, we went to the Jefferson Sheep, it's technically Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival, and it's held in Jefferson, Wisconsin. And I got a couple little things from the festival there. Not very much though, and I think part of it was because we were going on vacation. The other part of it was I was just kind of, I don't know, I didn't see much that jumped out at me, I suppose. It was really fun to go, and I love going to festivals, but I was tempted by a couple things, but there wasn't much that I like needed, like I had to have it. And with the vacation coming up, and then just, you know, I had ordered this yarn from the Woolen Homestead, I didn't really feel the need to get much more. The yarn I did get though, I will tell you, I had a really hard time picking which one I wanted because this yarn is from Bumblebee Acres Farm. What? Oh my gosh. And their booth, I wanted every single skein I saw. And I think I was in their booth 3 times, I think, maybe. Because it was like, I knew there was a few that I narrowed it down to. And then I think the second time I was in there, I caved and I bought this one. And this is the 3 broomsticks from their Harry Potter line. And this is on their Squishy Sock, which is a 75-25 merino nylon blend. There is 463 yards and yeah, 4-ply fingering weight. And there's their card. And you guys have heard me gush and go on and praise them so much, but they deserve every single word. Not only do they have incredible yarn, like let's just take a look at that. Holy buckets. They're also like the sweetest people I've ever met. So yeah, that sort of helps. But yeah, so I was in their booth 3 times. The 3rd time I had bought this yarn and I was happy and everything, but it was like their booth has some sort of like magnetism to it, and you just want to keep going in and looking at the beautiful colors. And this was the only skein of yarn I bought, and I was like, I can't just walk away with 1 skein of yarn. What is this? I never do this at festivals. But I was kind of sticking to a budget, and yeah, one reason or another, I did only get this one, but I wanted so many more, and I will probably be placing an order sometime soon. Because, other reason is because I am doing fiber share this year, and my fiber share partner that I'm sending to is a big like Lord of the Rings fan and some other fandoms, and I think it'd be super fun to get her a skein of like semi-local. They're in Illinois. They're actually right down the road from where I grew up. Sam is the oldest Bumblebee daughter. We actually went to grade school together. So yeah, that goes way back. And we sort of reconnected at the first Jefferson Fiber Festival I went to. And then since then I've been totally obsessed with their yarns, and you know how it goes. But yeah, so I might order her a skein of one of their Lord of the Rings inspired yarns, and then something for me might accidentally fall into the cart. Maybe. But I love this so much. I knew I loved the 3 broomsticks yarn because I knit with it in my Harry Potter advent calendar that I got from them last year. And there's a few in that calendar. It was kind of really cool because I got to test out all the colorways, and there was a few that I want full skeins of so badly, and that was definitely one of them. So, and they just keep coming out with new amazing fandom colors, and it's just, yeah, I love them. So, hi Bumblebees. I also know that they watch this, which isn't the reason why I was like going on and on about them, because I would anyway, but anyway, just wanted to say hi. So, the other thing I got at the Jefferson Fiber Fest was this crazy cute cow bag. And you guys know me, I cannot pass up anything with cows printed on it, so that had to come home with me. And this is from this is a Single Shot project bag, and it's from Kitchen Counter Crafter. And there is her info right there. Don't look at how much I spent on that. But yeah, cows, I'd spend money on that. And these were my 2 purchases at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool. Yay! So that was a lot of fun, and I got to hang out, like I said, with Lisa and Colleen, And actually my friend Carolyn and her family came down, which was super fun. I hadn't seen Carolyn since very briefly at my wedding, but I barely got to talk to her, which was sad. And yeah, I love Carolyn so much, and I wish we lived closer, because yeah, I just feel like she's the type of person that you could just like call up and be like, hey, do you want to can tomatoes with me today? And she'd be like, sure, let's do it. And we just have a lot in common, and yeah, she's pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, so that was what I got at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool. And next, let's go into my souvenir yarn, because I did not go to New York and not get souvenir yarn. We really only stopped at one yarn shop though, and that was Sybil's Yarn Shop in, I forget what town it technically is, but it's just outside Cooperstown. And we had gone canoeing there in the morning, and then on the way back, well, we had seen her yarn shop on the way there, and then when we were leaving, we stopped and she was open. So yeah, that was super fun to talk to her. All this footage and everything, I did take video, that will be in my travel vlog. But before we did that, the first day we went to Cooperstown, last Sunday, we went to the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown, and they were having their Harvest Festival. So that was really, really fun. It's kind of like, if you guys are in the area and you've heard of Old World, Wisconsin, I know, talked about that many, many times here on my podcast. I love that place. It's a large living history museum. They have old buildings. They kind of walk you through the way of life back in the 19th century and how it was here in Wisconsin. It's massive. It's like 160 acres or something, and you have to take a trolley to all these different farms that they have set up. And it's my favorite place to go in the entire world. I love that place. Anyway, this was a little bit like it. It was smaller, but they did have a lot of cool buildings. They had people doing demonstrations, a lot of great information. And because it was the Harvest Festival, they had fresh food, or, you know, like stands out. They had crafters out, and tons of people. So it was so much fun. But again, you'll see that in the travel vlog. But we stopped at the general store that they had there, and what's really cool is that they sell things that they actually make at the museum. So they had these like hat boxes that they make in the traditional style. They have brooms that they twist. They have like books and things like that, like ink and pens, and yeah, it's really, really cool. Things that the blacksmith makes, like hooks and horseshoes and things like that. But they also have yarn, and this yarn it really doesn't have much information on the actual yarn, but I read the tag, you know, in front of the basket of yarn. And so it has the Farmers Museum logo and tag there, and then it just has the colorway, which is brick. And it said basically that it is mill spun. It's not a hand spun yarn, but it is made from the wool of the sheep that they raise there at the Farmers Museum. So I thought that was super cool and a really, really neat souvenir, not only from just being in New York, but also from going to the Farmers Museum Festival. So I got a skein of that, and I think that they were calling this an Aran weight or a chunky. I would say it's about an Aran. It's not quite chunky enough to be a true chunky, but yeah. So that's super cool. It is a little rustic. I forget what breed this is. They didn't really say on the tag, but I think that they talked about the breed that they raise at the museum. It's like a traditional kind of Eastern United States breed. Is it a Cotswold? I can't remember honestly. But it's not super scratchy, but it's not a Merino or a BFL for sure. So that's really cool. And then when we went to Sybil's yarn shop, I asked her if she had some really, really cool things, but I was kind of looking for something, either a hand dyer from the area or, natural yarn from the area, something that was either raised or dyed or both from, that part of New York. And she pointed me to her local table, which had some local yarn and roving and stuff from farms just like pretty much down the road from her. And I picked up, I'm so excited, I picked up these 2 skeins of BFL DK weight yarn, and these have, this is 4 ounces, they have 330 yards per skein. That's really good. Like, that's very generous. And it is, I think it's a light DK weight. It could probably be passed off as a sport weight. Let's get that a little closer so you can kind of see the twist. It's just a 2-ply, it's mill spun, but it's natural colors. So this is the natural gray of some of her sheep, and then she did have white, but this lighter gray is a combination of the dark natural gray and the white. So this is still a natural color, but it was like a combination of 2 natural colors. So I liked the subtlety. I mean, this has a bit of contrast, obviously, but I did like, it was a little more subtle of a contrast than the white, the natural creamy white was with this charcoal. And I think I'm gonna do a pair of colorwork mittens with this because A, it's DK, which most colorwork mittens are, written for DK weight, and it's a soft but natural kind of rustic fiber. And BFL is probably, I really enjoy knitting with BFL. I like that it has a little bit more of a rustic feel to it than a merino, but it's also super soft, and you can wear it close to your skin. And I think these are going to be super warm for winter. I don't know when I'm going to get them cast on, but I'm really, really tempted to knit these after after my new pattern is done and completed, which I'm hoping I get that done by like mid-October, because it would be perfect to release it while it was still like fall time. So anyway, these were my 3 purchases, and yeah, I'm very excited that I'm excited that I got like rustic local wool. Like, usually I kind of opt for, when I do souvenir yarn, I still get like the hand-dyed merino nylon, superwash fingering weight. At least the last few vacations, I've just picked up something like that, and while it's still cool to be like, oh, I bought this when I was in blah blah blah, it's really neat to have some like local fiber. So I'm very pleased with those purchases. Okay, so that's about it for me. I can see on my phone here I've already gone over an hour, so yeah, I better sign off pretty quick, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. I am really hoping that I get the chance to podcast again, maybe next week. Maybe I'll go back to doing a podcast every single week. I do kind of like the rhythm of doing every other week, and now that I don't have any vacations or weird events coming up, I think I'll be able to consistently do every other week, if not, like I said, go back to every week. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for being patient for the next episode to come out. I was hoping to get one filmed maybe before vacation, but obviously that did not happen. So yeah, and yeah, I won't go into what we did on our vacation besides the brief overview I already gave you guys, but keep an eye out for my travel vlog. I really enjoy putting those together, and yeah, I can't wait to put that together. So I can watch it back. It's a really great kind of memory to have, and it's like having a home movie collection that you can just go back and watch and kind of relive that trip. And I really like putting that on my channel and kind of giving you guys a taste of not only, what I do in the knitting world, but also what I do like outside of that, because I do enjoy doing other things. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for a giveaway when I hit 500 subscribers. And if you'd like to, you can give the podcast episode a thumbs up. You can also go join the Ravelry group, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the episode and that you come back for the next one. So thank you guys so much. I will talk to you all very soon. Bye. Bye.